I arrived at my childhood home in Elmwood, Ohio, just as the last sliver of Thanksgiving sun dipped below the cornfields, only to find the front door ajar and the air thick with the stench of burnt turkey and betrayal. My mother, Evelyn, stood in the wreckage of what should have been our family's grand reunion feast, tables overturned, garlands torn from the walls like they'd been clawed down in a fit of rage, and her eyes locked on me with a venom I'd never seen. Not even during the trial that stole 5 years of my life. "Hazel, you selfish bitch," she hissed, her voice cracking like the splintered china at her feet. "You show up now? Fix this mess you made. Fix it all. Or so help me God. I'll bury you deeper than your father ever did." That was the moment I knew. The brother I'd sacrificed everything for had flipped the script one last time. And this homecoming wasn't salvation. It was the spark to my long-buried fuse. The drive from Columbus had been a blur of gray interstates and half-remembered radio hymns, the kind Mom used to hum while basting the bird. I'd imagined pulling into the driveway, the porch light flickering on like a beacon, my niece Lily rushing out with her gap-toothed grin and a plate of pumpkin pie. Instead, the house loomed dark and accusatory, the inflatable turkey deflated against the garage like a suicide note. I killed the engine of my beat-up Civic, the one I'd bought with the scraps of my parole earnings, and sat there, gripping the wheel until my knuckles ached. 5 years inside for a crime that wasn't mine. And what did I get? A collect call from Mom 2 weeks ago. Her voice syrupy with false warmth. "Come home, Hazel. Family needs you. It's time to heal."
Heal. Right.
As if concrete walls and iron bars hadn't etched that word into scar tissue. I stepped out into the chill, November wind whipping my thin jacket like it had a grudge. The neighborhood was quiet, the McMansions strung with twinkling lights mocking my solitude. Elmwood hadn't changed, same split levels, same nosy retirees peeking through curtains. But I had. The girl who left was soft-edged, the one who'd covered for her golden boy brother, Ethan, because blood was thicker than justice. The woman stepping over the threshold now, she was forged in the fires of Sing Sing's underbelly, where whispers of revenge bloomed like mold in the showers. Pushing the door open wider, I braced for the hug that never came. The living room was a battlefield, confetti-strewn carpet soaked with what smelled like spilled Merlot. The antique sideboard, Dad's pride from his days as a mill foreman, smashed against the wall. And Mom, 62 and brittle as autumn bone, her silver-streaked hair escaping its bun like frayed nerves. She didn't turn at first, just kept stabbing at a shard of glass with a broom handle, muttering curses that would make a trucker blush. "Evelyn." My voice came out smaller than I intended, a ghost of the daughter she'd disowned in court. She whirled then, broom raised like a weapon. Her face, once the soft canvas for my childhood sketches, was etched with lines of perpetual fury. "Don't you Evelyn me, Hazel Marie. You waltz in here like nothing happened. After what you did to this family." Her eyes, the same Hazel as mine, burned with accusation. "The party's ruined. Everyone's gone, your sister, the grandkids, even the damn neighbors who came to gawk. And it's all because of you."
Me?
The word lodged in my throat like a fishbone. I'd spent half a decade rotting for Ethan's sins, his embezzlement from Dad's old union fund, the one that left widows penniless and me fingering the fall. I'd confessed to it all in that stale interrogation room, tears streaming as the detective cooed about protecting family. Ethan had sworn he'd make it right, send money from his big break in Chicago, keep Mom's lights on. Lies. Everyone. But ruined party? That was new. "What the hell are you talking about?" I dropped my duffel by the door, the thud echoing like a gavel. Rain pattered against the windows now, a staccato underscore to her unraveling. She laughed, a bitter bark that dissolved into a sob. Ethan called. Said you confessed everything to the cops again, about the fund, about how you dragged him into it. Said you're out to destroy us. That you're the reason the bank's foreclosing tomorrow. Foreclosing? On Thanksgiving. She thrust a crumpled letter at me, the bank's eagle emblem glaring like an accusation. Fix it, Hazel. Or we're all out on the street because of your goddamn grudge.
Ethan.
Of course. The prodigal son. Always one scheme ahead. I'd written him from prison, begging for scraps, and he'd replied with postcards of Windy City skylines, promises of restitution. But this, framing me as the saboteur, it clicked then, the missing pieces from Mom's frantic voicemails during my last month inside. Whispers of Ethan's in trouble, cut off by static. He'd flipped, turned my sacrifice into his shield, and now he was wielding it like a blade. I snatched the letter, scanning the legalese. Eviction notice. Effective dawn. Signatures forged in my name, my old one, from before the ink dried on my plea deal. This isn't. Save it. She sagged against the wall, the fight leaching out like air from a punctured tire. Just go to your room. Sleep it off. Tomorrow, we face it. But if you love this family at all, you'll make it right.
Love.
The word twisted in my gut. I'd loved them enough to lie, to shield Ethan from the consequences of his greed. Dad had died believing I was the thief, his last breath a rasp of disappointment in the hospital room.
Why?
Hazel, why betray us? I'd held his hand, silent, as Ethan stood in the shadows,
Eyes dry.
I climbed the stairs, each creak a memory, Ethan and me racing to the attic, building forts from Dad's toolboxes.
Now.
The hallway smelled of dust and regret. My old room was a shrine to the girl I'd buried, posters of Nirvana faded to ghosts, sketchpads filled with charcoal renderings of Elmwood's decay. I collapsed on the bed, the eviction letter clutched in my fist, and let the tears come. Not for the house, or the holiday, but for the illusion I'd clung to, that blood-bought loyalty. Sleep was a shallow grave, haunted by dreams of iron bars and Ethan's smirk. I woke to dawn's gray light filtering through lace curtains, the house groaning like it knew its fate. Downstairs, Mom was in the kitchen, mechanically brewing coffee, her robe a shroud. He's coming today, she said without preamble, sliding a mug my way. Black. No sugar, just like Dad.
Ethan.
Says he has a plan.
But you.
You stay out of sight until I say. A plan. From the brother who'd ghosted me inside, who only wrote when he needed something, like the time he begged for my commissary cash to invest in a sure thing. I'd sent it. Every penny. Because that's what sisters do. Or so I'd thought. The doorbell rang at noon, a cheerful chime mocking the tension. I peered from the landing, heart pounding like a war drum. Ethan stepped in, all 6-foot charm in a wool overcoat that screamed Chicago executive. His hair was slicked back, jaw shadowed just enough to look rugged, not ragged. He enveloped Mom in a hug, murmuring apologies, and I swear I saw her melt, the broom-wielding harpy vanishing into the doting matriarch. Hazel's here, he asked, voice pitched low. But I caught the edge, the calculation. Mom nodded toward the stairs. Upstairs. acting like a ghost. He glanced up, our eyes meeting for the first time in years. His were blue, like Dad's, cold as Lake Erie in winter. Hey.
Cease.
Long time. Long time. 5 years of silence, punctuated by his one visit. Awkward. Perfunctory. Loaded with "I'll fix this" lies. I descended slowly, each step measured, the duffel slung over my shoulder like armor. Ethan. He pulled me into a bear hug, clapping my back too hard. Up close, he smelled of expensive cologne and cheaper deceit, cigars. Maybe. Or the faint tang of bourbon. God. You look good. Prison suits you, toughens a girl up. Mom bustled to the stove, salvaging what she could of yesterday's disaster. Reheated stuffing.
A satchem slice.
We sat at the scarred oak table, the one Dad built from salvaged barnwood, and Ethan launched into his pitch. The foreclosure's a bluff, he said, forking ham with the ease of a man who'd never skipped a meal. I know the banker, old golf buddy from Northwestern. He'll extend if we show good faith. A down payment. Say 10 grand.
10 grand.
My laugh was sharp. Unintended. And where's that coming from? Your sure thing investments? His fork paused, eyes narrowing just a fraction. Mom shot me a warning glare. Ethan's done well in the city. Hazel. Real estate flips. He's here to help. Help. The word again. I leaned back, crossing my arms. Last I heard, you were flipping more than houses. Remember the union fund? The one I went down for? Silence crashed like a dropped platter. Mom's face paled, her mug trembling. Ethan's jaw ticked, but he recovered with that salesman smile. Water under the bridge.
Has.
You took one for the team. I paid it back quietly. That's why we're here now. Closing the chapter. Liar. The fun was peanuts compared to what he'd spiraled into. I'd pieced it together from smuggled news clippings inside. Ponzi schemes, shell companies, widows' nests raided under the guise of community development. He'd built an empire on bones, mine included.
And now,
This bluff. It reeked of his old tricks. Delay.
distract.
Disappear. But Mom bought it, her eyes shining with desperate hope. See? Hazel? Family sticks.
Now.
About that down payment. I don't have it.
Truth.
Bald and unadorned. My job at the auto shop barely covered rent in a halfway house. Ethan waved it off. I'll front it. But I need your signature on some papers. Power of attorney.
Just to smooth things with the bank.
For old time's sake. Power of attorney. The phrase slithered like a snake. I remembered the last time I'd signed for him, waiving my rights to the fund's remnants, sealing my fate.
No.
Hazel, Mom started, but Ethan cut her off, leaning in, voice dropping to that conspiratorial timbre we'd shared as kids plotting midnight raids on the cookie jar. Come on.
Cease.
You owe me. For keeping quiet about everything. His eyes flicked to Mom, then back. The everything, not just the theft, but the deeper rot. Dad's accident at the mill, slipped on oil, they said. But I'd found the tampered railing months later. Ethan's print smudged but there. He'd whispered it to me one drunk night. Sobbing. It was mercy.
Has.
He was suffering. The cancer eating him alive. Pills weren't enough. I'd buried that too. Told the insurers it was fate. covered for the mercy kill that let Ethan inherit the house debt-free. Oh, him? For silence on fratricide? I stood, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. Fuck your papers. And fuck your mercy. The words hung, profane in the holiday hush. Mom gasped, hand to her throat. Ethan's face hardened, the mask slipping to reveal the schemer beneath, calculating odds, plotting countermoves. You ungrateful. He bit it off, standing too, towering. You think you can waltz back and play the victim? I built something out there because of you. Your confession bought me time. Without it, I'd be the one in stripes.
Time.
That's all it ever was with him, stealing seconds, minutes,
Lives.
I grabbed my duffel, storming for the door. Rain lashed the windows. A monsoon now.
Mirroring the storm in my chest.
Enjoy your feast, brother. I'll send the bank your regards. But as I yanked the door open, his hand clamped my shoulder.
Visitat. Wait. There's more.
The real reason I'm here. His voice was low,
Urgent.
laced with something almost like fear. They're coming for me.
Has. Feds.
The flips weren't clean, RICO charges, money laundering. If I go down, this house, Mom, it's all collateral.
Sign.
And I'll cut you in. 50-50 on the escape fund. Escape. The word ignited something primal. A spark in the dry tinder of my rage. 50-50. Half the empire built on my ruins. Or half the fall, dragging us all under. I shrugged him off, stepping into the downpour. Water soaked me instant, cold as truth. Sign your own damn death warrant, Ethan. The door slammed behind me, but his laugh followed, hollow, echoing. I didn't go far. The old oak tree in the backyard, the one we'd carved initials into, became my confessional. Huddled beneath its branches, phone in hand, I scrolled through contacts I'd forged inside, a PI named Rocco, ex-cop with a grudge against white-collar wolves. Hazel, that you,
Sweetheart?
thought you'd gone straight as a razor. Rocco. Dig up dirt on Ethan Whitaker. Everything mill accident. Funds. Flips. And fast.
Cost ya.
But for you, half price. Gimme 24. 24 hours. Thanksgiving bleeding into Black Friday. The world shopping while I plotted. Back inside, Mom had left the door unlocked. A silent plea, I raided the liquor cabinet. Dad's forgotten scotch burning a path to numbness. She was asleep upstairs, sedated by grief and gin. I spread Ethan's papers on the table under lamplight, the fine print a labyrinth of legalese. Power of attorney. Indeed. It wasn't just the house, it was everything, my parole records, my savings non-existent. Even Lily's college fund. The one I'd seeded with my last free world check.
Bastard.
He'd anticipated my return. Woven this web months ago. The eviction? A pressure play.
Forcing my hand. But why now?
The feds, he wasn't bluffing there. A quick search on my burner app confirmed whispers. Chicago indictments brewing. Names redacted, but his profile fit. Dawn 2 brought Rocco's call. Voice gravel over static. Jackpot.
Kid.
Mill report?
Tampered.
All right, your prince nowhere. But fibers from his college sweater. Fund? He didn't just steal, he laundered through Mom's church group, bilked old ladies dry. And the flips? Ghost buildings. Straw buyers, victims losing homes. suicides even. One widow jumped from her balcony last spring. Name: Marjorie Klein. Sound familiar? She was Dad's poker buddy.
Marjorie.
The woman who'd baked me lemon bars. Called me niece when my own blood turned cold. Ethan's empire. Paved with her blood. And the accident? I whispered, though Mom's snores drifted down. Ruling stands accidental. But corner notes anomalies, talk screen positive for extras. Beyond the painkillers. Overdose mercy? More like assisted. With intent. Intent. Murder. Dressed as kindness. The spark flared to inferno. Revenge wasn't a dish. It was a reckoning. Cold and calculated. I confronted him that afternoon. The house a pressure cooker of unspoken sins. He'd arrived with takeout, ironic. A catered feast from some Elmwood deli, and Mom, buoyed by his charm, chattered about old times. Lily was there now. My niece. 7 and wide-eyed. Oblivious to the fault lines cracking the foundation. Aunt Haz. She hugged my legs. Sticky with cranberry sauce. Uncle Ethan says you're a hero. Like Wonder Woman, but with tattoos.
Tattoos.
The ink from inside, a phoenix on my wrist. Rising from ash.
Hero.
The lie curdled. Ethan caught my eye over her head, smirking. Eat up.
Cease.
Big day tomorrow. Bank meeting. I waited until Lily napped. Mom in the garden clipping dead mums like it mattered. The living room, patched but precarious, became our arena. Marjorie Klein, I said, dropping the name like a grenade. His fork froze midair.
Who?
Bullshit. Her balcony. Your flip in Wrigleyville. She lost everything because you cooked the books. His face shifted, charm to calculation in a blink. Ancient history. She was collateral.
Has.
Business. Business? Like Dad's mercy? Or the union widows you left penniless? He set the fork down. Deliberate. You gonna play prosecutor now? After I shielded you? That little joyride you took with Lily's dad, remember? The DUI that could have yanked custody? I buried it. Family. Right? Shielded me? The twist hit like a sucker punch. Lily's father. My ex. The deadbeat who'd bailed when the pregnancy test turned pink. I'd covered his tracks too. Ethan's doing?
No. Wait.
That was me. Drunk and desperate. Crashing his truck to give him an alibi for skipping town. But Ethan. He'd known. Pulled strings with the judge who'd gone easy on my record pre-theft. You manipulated it all, I breathed. Made me the fall guy from the start. He shrugged. That infuriating nonchalance. You were always the soft one. Easier sell. Jury ate the troubled daughter bit. But hey, it worked. Until now.
Now.
The feds closing in. His house of cards teetering. He needed the signatures to liquidate assets. Flee to some non-extradition haven. And me, the perfect scapegoat. Fresh out. Fingerprints on the fraud. I won't sign. My voice was steel. Forged anew. Then Mom loses everything. Lily.
2. Think about that.
Hero. Leverage. He always had it. Flipping it like a coin. But Rocco's dirt? That was my ace. Or, I go to the cops. Mill files. Talks reports. Your empire crumbles. Ethan. Murder 1. His laugh was low. Dangerous. You think they'll believe you? The convicted felon? I've got lawyers who'd eat you alive. And Mom? She'd testify against you in a heartbeat. Hazel's unstable. Always was. The door creaked, Mom. Eavesdropping. Face ashen. Is it true? About your father? Ethan's mask cracked.
Mom.
It's not. She advanced. Slow. Eyes wild. You killed him? My Jack. He stood. Placating. Mercy.
Ma.
He begged me. The pain. Liar. Her slap echoed. Handprint blooming on his cheek. For a moment, the room held brother, sister, mother in tableau of fractured love. Then Ethan rounded on me. Fury unleashed. This is your fault. Hazel. You and your goddamn conscience. I did it for us, for the legacy Dad wanted. Not his slow rot. Legacy. The word ignited the powder keg. I lunged, not with fists but words, spilling the rest, the church widows, the suicides, the Ponzi widows preying on the vulnerable. Mom listened, crumbling, as Ethan countered, flipping narratives. I was the jealous one, sabotaging his rise. The theft was my idea, him the reluctant pawn. The argument escalated, voices rising like floodwaters. Lily stirred upstairs, crying out. Mom went to her, leaving us in the ring. Sign, or I burn it all, he snarled, producing a lighter from his pocket, flicking it, flame dancing like a dare. The papers, the house, our history. Burn it. The idea bloomed, dark and seductive. Not with fire, but exposure. I snatched my phone, hitting record as he ranted, admissions tumbling, the tampering, the mercy dose, the laundered lives. You recording me? Horror dawned. Too late. Insurance, I said, pocketing it. For the feds. He lunged then, grapple for the phone. But I dodged. Adrenaline singing. We tussled, brother against sister. Years of resentment in every shove. A lamp crashed, glass shattering like our illusions. Mom returned, Lily in arms, screaming for it to stop. Enough. Her voice cut through. Maternal thunder. Ethan.
Out. Now.
And Hazel. God help you if this destroys us. He stormed out, coat flapping like bat wings. But not before hissing. You'll regret this. Cease. Blood's thicker, but mine's poison now. The house fell silent, save Lily's whimpers. Mom rocked her, eyes distant. Was it all lies? Hazel? Our family? I knelt, touching her knee. Not all, but enough to fight for what's left. That night, as Black Friday sales blared from neighbors' TVs, I sent the recording to Rocco. Package it for the Chicago field office. Anonymously, dawn 3 broke clear. The rain washed away, but the stains lingered. Ethan didn't return, but his shadow did. Texts from burners. Retract.
Lily P.
Threats veiled in brotherly concern. The bank meeting loomed. Mom pleading for unity. One last try. For her. Lily. Innocent in the crossfire. I went. Papers and signed. Recording app live. The banker, a paunchy golf pro type, greeted Ethan like kin. Whitaker, thought you'd skip town. Family first, Ethan lied, sliding docs my way under the table. Sign. I did, not the power, but a forged addendum Rocco had mocked up overnight. transferring his assets to a trust for victims. Me as executor. Sleight of hand. Prism learned. He spotted it too late, as the banker stamped approval. What the? Done, I said.
Standing.
Your flips? Frozen. Funds rerouted. Marjorie's can get first dibs. Betrayal's echo is on me. Now reversed.
But the twist?
Mom had signed too. In the night. Her own quiet revenge. For Jack, she whispered later, as sirens wailed, feds swarming the lot, cuffing Ethan mid-protest. You ratted, he spat. In the chaos, eyes wild. Balance the scales. But as they dragged him away, Lily clinging to my leg, Mom's face hardened. You started this, Hazel. That DUI cover-up? It hid more. Your ex wasn't just fleeing, he was Ethan's plant, laundering through your name before the theft. The revelation hit like vertigo. I'd covered for a ghost Ethan conjured. My daughter's safety bartered in his game. No one clean, me complicit from the cradle. Ethan's trial made headlines. Prodigal son's fall, mercy or murder? Debates raged. Forums split on mercy killing's grace. White-collar wolves cunning. I testified. Truth serum in my veins. But the twist lingered. Recordings leaked. My voice too. Exposing my shadows. In the end, the house sold to fund victim reparations. Mom and Lily moved to me in Columbus. A fragile truce. Happy? Tragic? You decide, as Ethan rots. Flipping appeals like cards. And I wonder if revenge healed or just hollowed us further. The months blurred after the arrest. A haze of depositions and dollar signs. Elmwood shrinking to a rearview speck as I packed Mom and Lily into the Civic for the haul to Columbus. New start, I told them. Voice steady as the odometer ticked miles of flat Ohio farmland. But inside, the phoenix on my wrist itched like fresh scabs rising. Maybe. But from what pyre? Ethan's empire crumbled under Rico's hammer. Assets seized. But the real fallout was the fractures in us. Mom's silences at stoplights. Lily's questions about Uncle Bad Man. Columbus welcomed us with concrete anonymity. A 2-bedroom in Clintonville. Rent gouged from my shop wage and Mom's widow's pension. I enrolled Lily in school. Her first week a triumph of crayons and carpools, while Mom haunted the kitchen, stirring pots of nostalgia, green bean casserole.
No hum.
Just beans and regret. He was always the charmer, she'd murmur, as if incantation could summon absolution. I nodded, biting back the urge to shatter plates, charm that choked widows, mercy that murdered. My days ground at the auto shop, grease under nails, engines purring under my hands like old lovers.
Boss.
A grizzled vet named Sal knew my ink without asking.
Ixgon? Fine.
Just don't steal my tools.
Fair. Nights.
I lawyered up pro bono, Rocco's contacts. I ACLU shark-sniffing civil suits. Ethan's victims coalesced online. A forum I moderated anonymously. Whitaker Widows Watch. Stories poured in lost homes. Bankruptcies. Marjorie's daughter emailing photos of the balcony. Empty now but scarred. Hazel, she'd written. You gave us voice. But does it bring her back?
No.
Revenge was Ledger, not Lazarus. Ethan's letters started in February. Postmarked from Cook County Jail, neat script. Laced with venom. You think you're the Avenger? Check the family Bible.
Cease.
Page 47. I did. That night. The leather tome Mom had clutched at Dad's funeral. Tucked in the Psalms, A yellowed envelope. My handwriting, dated pre-theft. Ethan, I owe you for the ride.
Love. Ash.
The DUI night, scrawled in haste. But inside, a second note. His, paid in full. Keep quiet about the truck's real cargo. Insurance on Dad's life.
Cargo.
The policy he'd cashed post-accident, seating his first flip. I'd known vaguely, drunk-hazed, but signed off, silencing for family stability. Complicit again. My signature the original sin. I burned the note in the sink, flame-devouring paper like guilt. But the ash clung, metaphorical. Spring thawed the tension at home. Lily thrived, braids flying on playground swings, calling me super aunt without the tattoo's shadow. Mom softened, even laughed at my crude shop tales over meatloaf. You're tougher than your father, she'd say, pride flickering. But the calls came, Ethan's lawyer, oily as axle grease, offering plea deals if I'd recant. Testify to coercion. Say the recording was doctored. Doctored? Like the railing? I hung up, but doubt wormed. What if Mercy was Mercy? Dad's logs. Smuggled from the mill. Detailed pains unspoken. Nights he'd wept in the garage. Ethan at his side with solutions. The forum heated summer. Victims demanding blood. 1. A steelworker named Gus, Dad's old union brother, Med. Hazel. Ethan's flipping again. Telling the prosecutor you orchestrated the fund hit to frame him. Says you're the mastermind. Fresh out for payback. Flipping. Always the coin. I met Gus in a dive bar off High Street, neon buzzing like nerves. He was burly, scarred hands cradling a bud, eyes red-rimmed. Your brother ruined me, lost the house, wife left. But if he's pinning it on you, he is. I slid him a beer. And it'll stick unless we counter. We did, affidavits, timelines. The talks report Rocco exhumed. But Gus's tail twisted. Ethan visited pre-arrest. Said you'd confess to the mill too. Take the murder rap for sisterly love. Offered me hush money to back his play. Take the murder rap. For love, the room spun. Barstool cold. Ethan, scheming from shadows. Bartering my freedom for his. I'd refuse the letters. But this? A ghost offer. Haunting. I drove home raging. Rain-slick streets mirroring turmoil. Mom waited on the stoop. Lily Abed. The lawyer called. Ethan's plea needs your signature to drop the family angle.
Signature.
The serpent again.
No.
Her face crumpled. Hazel. He's your blood. And Lily. She asks for him.
Blood.
Poison. As he'd said. But Lily's drawings, Uncle Ethan with superhero cape, tugged heartstrings I'd thought severed. The climax brewed in July. Heat wave choking Columbus. AC wheezing like confessions. Ethan's trial transferred, federal. Dramatic, venue to Cleveland. Neutral ground. I testified first. The stand a pillory under fluorescent glare. Jurors, Midwestern faces etched with skepticism, leaned in as I recounted the fund, the flips, the recording's raw plea. Your Honor, Ethan's counsel intoned, silk smooth. MS. Whitaker has a history of fabrication. Exhibit A, her alibi for felony DUI, covering not just flight, but felony flight with intent to defraud, insurance fraud tied to her father's policy. Gasps rippled. The courtroom, packed with victims and voyeurs, shifted, eyes on me. The felon avenger. Flipped again, my complicity, weaponized. I gripped the rail, voice steady. I covered for fear. For family. But Ethan? He built on corpses, Dad's. Marjorie's. Ours. Cross-examination dragged. Hours of dissection. My prison art sold online, proceeds to victims. But profiting from pain. Letters to Ethan begging. Yes. But laced with accusations. The prosecutor redeemed. Playing the recording. Ethan's voice. Damning. Mercy dose.
Ma.
For us. Jury murmurs. Divided. Mercy killings gray. Frauds black and white blurred. Then Ethan's turn. He took the stand. Suit tailored. Eyes brimming. Hazel's my hero, he lied. Voice cracking. She took the fun fall to protect me, her little brother. Lost in grief after Dad. The mill? I found him. Pills scattered. He begged. End it.
Son.
I did for love.
Love.
The word. Weaponized. Jurors softened. Women dabbing eyes. Victims seethed. But doubt crept, his charm. Flipping the room. Recess hit like a gut punch. In the hall, Mom cornered me. Lily at her side clutching a teddy. He's lying. Isn't he? About the begging? I knelt to Lily. Uncle's sick.
Sweetie.
Stories twisted. She nodded. Solemn. Like Pinocchio? Worse. To Mom. Dad's logs, check the dates.
No bakes.
Just pain. She paled. Retreating. But the seed planted. What if Ethan flipped her too? Afternoon resumed. Prosecution's rebuttal. Gus. Then the coroner, talks levels deliberate. Not slip. Ethan's cross. Coerced testimony. MS.
Whitaker's forum.
Witch hunt. The forum. Exposed. My moderation of Vendetta Mill. Jurors split visible now, notes passed. Heads shaken. Then the bomb. Ethan's surprise witness, my ex. Lily's ghost dad.
Tommy.
Scruffy. Smirking from the stand. Hazel put me up to the DUI, framed Ethan from jump. Said he'd stolen her art dreams or some shit. Vengeful bitch. Lies. Layered. I'd never but the policy. The truck cargo. Tommy's signature on Dad's insurance rider. Ethan's forgery through him. Flipped, my ex. Bought cheap. Chaos erupted, objections.
Sidebar.
Judge banged gavel. But damage done. Jurors eyed me predator. Avenger to villain. I bolted to the lavatory. Retching bile and betrayal. Rocco found me. Cigarette dangling.
Hang tai.
We got the talks. But hanging felt like lynching. Evening adjournment. Hotel lobby a cage. Mom arrived. Lily asleep in her arms.
Tommy.
He called me last week. Said Ethan paid him to testify, 20 grand. From hidden accounts.
Paid.
The flip eternal. Why tell me now? Because you're right. Blood's not enough. She thrust a flash drive. Dad's real logs, from the attic. Ethan doctored the ones you saw.
No merci.
Just greed, policy cash for his tuition.
Truth.
Unvarnished. I plugged it in. Laptop glowing. Entries of sabotage. Ethan's hand in Dad's slip. The next day, I demanded recall, pro-hack vice. Desperate. Judge allowed.
Skeptical.
On stand, drive in hand, I uploaded live. Logs scrolling. Ethan scrawl indicting. Objection, authenticity. Counsel bade. Verified, I countered. Voice thunder. And Tommy? Check his wire. Ethan's came and drop. Feds scrambled. Confirming mid-session. Court gasped as transfers lit screens. 20K.
Time-stamped.
Ethan cracked then. From his table. You traitorous. All rise. Judge's voice cut. But the flip was mine. Evidence avalanche burying him. Jury deliberated hours. Tension taut as bowstring. We waited in a side room. Mom praying rosary beads click-clack. Lily coloring turkeys oblivious. Verdict, guilty. All counts fraud. Manslaughter. Conspiracy. No murder won. Mercy's gray prevailed. But life. Effectively. With appeals. Cheers from victims.
Sobs from Mom.
Ethan.
Cuffed.
Locked eyes. This isn't over.
Has.
Lily. She's mine now. Adoption papers. Rushed. Sealing it. But the twist whispered in the aftermath. Tommy's full confession. Leaked to press. Ethan hadn't just paid. He'd blackmailed with Lily's paternity secrets. Turns out, doubts lingered, my one-night haze. Or his setup. DNA pending. But the debate raged. Was I duped? Or complicit in the cradle? Fall deepened. Leaves carpeting Clintonville like confetti on graves. Mom baked apple pie. Lily's laughter bomb. A happy ending? The house fund bought us stability. Victims healed incremental. But nights, I traced the phoenix, wondering, revenge's scales, balanced. Or bloodied. Ethan's appeals ground on. Flipping judges like pancakes. One letter slipped through. You won the battle.
Cease.
But the war? Lily's eyes, blue like mine. Think on that. The test confirmed his. A setup. Decades deep. Dad's affair rumor. Planted to bind us. No one innocent. All schemers in the family farce. I burned it. Ashes to wind. Tragic? Perhaps. But in the gray. We rebuilt. Controversial. Unpolished. American as pie. Winter gripped Columbus like a grudge. Snow blanketing the city in hush-white lies. Muffling the holiday jingles that now grated like Ethan's appeals. Lily's first white Christmas with us. String lights on our modest spruce. Mom's cookies crisp and cardamom-scented should have been redemption's bow. Instead, it was reckoning's prelude. The DNA bombshell festering like untreated frostbite. Ethan's claim, not just paternity ploy, but a deeper dig, Lily as leverage. His legacy, insurance against the fall. I stared at the report in the ER glow. Post-holiday flu scare for Lily turning confessional. Blue eyes.
His blueprint.
But the timeline? My haze with Tommy overlapped Ethan's visit home that summer. The one Mom called brotherly check-in.
Had he?
The thought curdled. Incest's shadow too foul for daylight.
No, Mom whispered.
Clutching the printout as we drove home. Wipers slashing slush.
He wouldn't.
Not our Ethan. Our Ethan. The phantom who flipped from sun to specter. The appeals lawyer hinted. I said. Voice iced. Said you'd know about the night he came back. Before the mill. She stiffened. Knuckles bone white on dash. He was grieving.
Drunk.
Talked of Dad's pain. How you'd both care for me. Slept on the couch.
Couch.
Or cradle. The doubt divided me. Avenger halved. Victim veiled. January thawed secrets. Rocco called. Voice urgent over diner clatter. Hazel. Ethan's flipping hard, new counsel. Big firm. Digging your past. The DUI deep. Found witnesses. Barfly says you confessed planting the truck cargo. Framing dad's policy for inheritance share. Framing. The eternal flip. I buried that night. Tommy's flight. My crash cover, but whispers now. Ethan. Puppeteering from afar. Scripting my fall to mask his. I confronted Mom that eve. Lily at ballet recital twirling oblivion. Kitchen steam from stew. Her hands flour-dusted. Tell me. The night. She sagged against counter. Spoon clattering.
He came to me
After you passed out from the crash news. Said we needed strength. For the family. It was once. Hazel. Weakness. He swore it'd bind us. Keep you safe.
bind.
The word. Biblical poison. Incest gray. Mercy's kin, taboo twist sparking inner war. Was Lily his? Blood's curse? Or coincidence?
DNA said yes.
But morality? Fractured. The appeals hearing loomed March. Cleveland courthouse, a coliseum of contention. Victims rallied outside. Signs. No mercy for murderers. Press swarmed. Speculating. Whitaker sisters' shadow. Complicity or courage? I didn't testify, enough scars bared. But Ethan's star turn. Video link from Supermax. Face gaunt. Eyes fervent. My sister orchestrated it all, he claimed. Voice modulated sorrow. The fund? Her idea. Resentful of my success. The mill? She tampered. Jealous of Dad's pride in me. Even Lily. I protected her secret. Kept it from courts to spare Hazel custody loss. Protected. The lie. Layered like onion skin. Jurors, new panel. Appeals theater, leaned. Divided, his pathos pulling heartstrings. Victims' affidavits stealing spines. Mom watched from gallery. Hand in mine. Trembling. He's lying, she breathed. But her eyes, guilt's glaze, whispered otherwise. Recess brought the bomb. Bailiff summoning me to chambers. Judge. Stern oak of a man.
Slide dossier.
MS. Whitaker. Your brother's counsel alleges undue influence, your forum. The recordings. But this. Flipping pages, hotel receipts. Mom's name. Ethan's alias. Care to explain? Explain. The night. Confessed in therapy transcripts, Mom's.
Leaked.
Incest. Hushed for family sanctity. Judge's brow furrowed. This changes nothing legally. But ethically? Appeals fodder. Ethically. The word. American as apple pie guilt. Debates delight. Court resumed. Ethan's counsel pouncing. Your Honor. New evidence, familial depravity. Orchestrated by petitioner to discredit. Transcripts projected. Redacted but damning. One time. Weakness. Gasps. Then silence thick as fog. Jurors recoiled. But Ethan?
Smug.
Flipping victim. See? Dysfunction from Hazel. Her manipulations started young.
Young.
The cradle lie. I stood. Unbidden. Voice echoing. Lies. He preyed on Mom.
On me?
On Lily's blood. Contempt warning barked. But damage danced. Courtroom cleaved. Whispers of monsters all versus survivor scars. Deliberations stretched days. City abuzz. Forum's eyed birth now turned. Hazel hero or hypocrite? Incest cover equals killer kin? Sides split. Feminists decrying patriarchal poison. Conservatives clutching family values violated. Mom broke that night. Hotel bar, a confessional haze. He forced it. Hazel. Twisted love into chains. I signed his schemes to escape the policy. The fund hush. For you. For Lily.
Chains.
We'd all worn them. Links forged in blood's forge. Verdict dropped. Appeal denied. Sentence upheld. But the cost? Media maelstrom. Lily's school whispers. Aunt Haz's creepy brother. We fled to witness protection light. Rocco's cabin in Hocking Hills. Woods whispering absolution. Spring bloomed tentative. Dogwoods pink against trauma's gray. Lily asked once, why's uncle in timeout forever? For hurting hearts, I said, braiding her hair, blue-eyed mirror. But mine now. Legally. Lovingly. Mom healed slow. Therapy's tendrils untangling knots. Forgive him, she asked one hike. Ferns unfurling like hope. Forgive?
No.
Understand? Maybe. His letters ceased. But rumors, supermax schemes, flipping inmates for favors. Summer scorched. Victims' fund dispersed. Marjorie's daughter bought a condo. Sent tulips. Debate rages here, her card read. Was Mercy murder? Or Hazel's heroism the real crime?
Debate.
The twist's gift, no victors. Just voices in the void. Fall circled back. Thanksgiving redux. Turkeys small. Table intimate.
No eggs.
No brothers. Lily carved the bird. Mom toasted to scales balanced. But as pie steamed, my phone buzzed, burner. Unknown. Audio file. Ethan's voice. Raspy. Cease. Last flip. Lily's mind test rigged. My plant in the lab. Come claim her. Or I testify, you killed Dad. Full circle.
Rigged.
The ultimate twist, paternity ploy. Or truth. Lab called next day. Anomaly noted. Retest urged. I deleted it. Untraced. Claim?
No.
Testify? Let him rot in doubt. Ending? We thrive, Mom gardens. Lily dances. I wrench engines to rhythm. Happy. In the gray.
Beakik.
If blood calls. You argue. Was revenge justice? Or just another chain? The phoenix rises still. Wings spread over scars. American dream. Dented but defiant.